date with the action, and there we've got the world number one, and he's just made his move, so just in time we are seeing the trades on f5 happen. And after taking on f5 with the pawn, bishop to g3 is still a threat on the board. And there we see.
And there we go, the famous castles. The famous castles on the board. And we have also seen Magnus very determined, moving his king to g8, making that long, which is actually a short castle. I believe it should also give him immense pleasure, yeah, because these are not the type of moves that you can make too often.
It's not a standard chess move to pick up your king from one side of the board and to put it on the other side of the board and then drag the rook next to it. Freestyle chess, it's a lot of fun. And let's have that move on our analysis board as well, Peter. We see our live board on the bottom right there. Short castle has been played. And the whole point is that you kind of just free up your rook on 8 and walk out of any bishop g3, bishop to d6 ideas.
It's so funny. I'm trying to make the move and computer does not let me. Can you try it, Tanya?
We will try to get that.
Maybe Nicholas?
You can go to game and then to there, yeah, and now. Oh, there wasn't updated
We're trying to update it on our...
All right, I have it, so I can bring it up.
It was such a shocking move that even the computer is not able to handle it, yeah?
Yeah, so here, let's enjoy this one more time. The king going all the way over, playing short castle. In order to play this, no squares can be occupied in between, as in regular chess as well, and then you end up in the typical short castle position. Here the advantage is that you immediately hit this pawn on f5, and also you're ready to bring this rook into action while the white pieces are not coordinated yet. Ding responded by going bishop e4, defending the pawn. Now d5 was played to attack the bishop. The bishop has to drop back to c2, and black should really use his time now to create more pressure and take the initiative while white is still stuck with the king. So Carlsen goes pretty quickly knight h3 to attack the bishop on f2, and this makes a lot of sense because this bishop is defending the pawn on d4, and if he goes to e3 he can be hit once again by the rook. So it seems that white is going to lose a pawn here one way or another, and the main problem is just these pieces being stuck. The rooks are not in the game yet, and Carlsen's taking over. The only thing that is good for Ding right now is his 10-minute time advantage, but in the end you'd rather take a good position than have more time on the clock.
And I would like to add one more thing. Why knight h3 is so important, because white is stuck. White would love to play rook g1 check in order to free the possibility of going long castle. Then the king from b1 would move to c1, the rook from a1 would move to rook to d1 and would resemble a normal classical position. But with knight h3, Magnus makes sure that no, my friend, I'm not going to give you this chance, and then white is in a very awkward spot.
Nicholas, I just want to see an action replay of Magnus's long castle. We saw the king drag all the way, and if we can just show that moment one more time. Just the long journey of the king, and it happened right here.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, this is just such a...
I think we missed it on the camera, Nicholas. You might have to do it one more time for us.
I'll do it one more time. It's just... It must be a very, very nice move for Magnus to play. Also so surprising and so easy to forget about this move, that the king can swing all the way over and immediately you have the rook in the game, you have this rook able to come in, whereas white is still stuck with his rooks on a1 and c1 not really doing anything. So Ding under pressure here, the position is still defendable. He's worse, but it's still defendable, but he needs to dig in right now and maybe also use his time advantage to pose the most problems to avoid, let's not forget, to avoid losing a 5th game in a row, which would be really, really tough, of course, for him as the reigning world champion. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Nicholas. Well, I was keeping an eye on Ding, and he is in state of shock. And look at this, rook f1 had been played, clearly not approved by the engine. We see the evolution bar dropping, but you don't have to be an engine. This is a panicky move.
He just loses a pawn.
Yes, he loses a pawn, but knight h3 had such an effect. This castles, knight h3 had such an effect that humanly I have seen him on the video. It was clear that he believes that he's lost. Yeah.
We're just seeing Ding collapse in this position after queen g4 happened and Magnus's sequence of moves since then playing precisely. And now he picks up a pawn, you do the count. It's an extra pawn for black, but it's not just about that. It's two connected passed pawns on the queen side, which will eventually start rolling down the board. You don't need to rush with it. You don't need to create weaknesses. Many of us might feel, play c5, get those pawns going, but do you really want to make a d5 target for your opponent? So I won't be surprised if Magnus just plays this slowly, steadily, bring that rook into the game, fall back with your bishop, and only when the time is right, you start pushing your central pawns.
Wow, he even plays this nice stylish rook g8 because he will have the intermezzo bishop e3 check, yeah, so he basically invites, please take on g8, I'm gonna give the bishop e3 check, and after king b1, rook take g8, yeah, Ding can't afford to give up the g file, he moves the rook to e2, but the problem is not only that white is pawn down, and that black has this lovely construction, this b7, c6, d5, the white bishop on c2, and this pawn on f5, this is a horrible construction. Look at that lovely dark squared bishop for black on f6, sitting perfectly, making sure that white's bishop is not having any chance of attacking anything in this position. And even, of course, black does not need to trade all rooks, but even if the rooks were traded, this position has the potential of simply be winning for black. Ding is going rook d1, he's at least trying to double on the e file, but the position looks very bad.
And now it's an interesting moment because Magnus will decide if he wants to go for that double rook trade or not. He decides to avoid it for now. He's coming in with his rook to g4, also with the potential doubling up of the g file. It's the only other open file in the position, eventually infiltrating on the second or the first rank. I think for Ding, he knows it that this is an incredibly difficult position to defend. He needs a miracle to save this one.
And look at this, yeah, Magnus is now speeding up. Ding feels like his only chance is to play fast, yeah, because the position is objectively lost. But Magnus shows a lot of confidence, not thinking about how do I convert it. He knows that this is a winning position. Let me just make the most natural moves. The rook entered the second rank. How is Ding handling the situation?
He's trying to trade off a pair of rooks.
Yes, but at the same time, this means that the rook from e6, even after trade, would need to retreat, which would give back all the activity Magnus takes.
And now he can capture the g file, or does he go for a rook trade? He captures the g file. He wants to start putting pressure on white's pawns. That bishop on c2, Ding's bishop, there are no targets. The pawn on f5 is coming in its own ways. If this bishop could somehow reach e6 at some point, you can imagine counterplay. And look at the way black's pawns, Magnus's pawns, are taking away the mobility of the light squared bishop.
Yeah, but look at the clock situation. This is what I was telling, that somehow Ding has to slow down. There is just no need, no reason to rush. Yeah, that's why he missed this long short castle. He has 50 minutes, he has 60 minutes, but the position is lost. Yeah, you can't show your skills here. You have to make sure that you have all these kind of tricky moves which changing the character of the position, like these castles, which is so vital in this freestyle chess, under control. And you can only do that by investing enough time. He needs to calm his nerves down and slow down and take it much slower.
Because those 15.5 minutes on the clock will not help you in this endgame. It will not help you in this position. Magnus now rerouting his bishop. And I think that's really great technique from the Magnus touch endgame that he's showing. He doesn't go forward with his pawns just yet. He wants his pieces on the most ideal position. What Ding is really hoping for is to start pushing this pawn at some moment so that the bishop can come into play. Right now, the rook is under attack.
Yeah, basically bishop c5 almost forces resignation because it hits the rook. The rook has to stay on the second rank in order to protect the h2 pawn, but then Magnus is going to go bishop d6, and there is no more f6 trick or whatever, and the h2 pawn will fall, and then black will even, yeah, there is the handshake. Ding has had enough.
And that is the 5th loss in a row for the world champion Ding Liren in the freestyle chess. It has been a heartbreaking start for him. Magnus picking up momentum. Meanwhile, he started slow on day one, but with a win against Levon and now a win against Ding, Magnus is back.
Yeah, and look at his body language. Yeah, he immediately is a completely